So again, we're going to have to look for a region, a territory that's going to give us that. Now, with Edinburgh being open like that, what does the council recommend we do? Do we go for Edinburgh here and then try and hold out against what would be a prolonged, sustained assault by the British? Now, if we see the Poles starting to really bite into the Ottomans here, we will strike out against Istanbul here and take it for ourselves. We'll break the alliance, and then the following turn we'll move either against Greece or we'll move against Istanbul here. Now, we've got this army which will stay here. We are not going to be losing this anytime soon here, especially with the spices here. Only 72% popularity. Oh dear. Oh dear me. Oh dear. Greetings and welcome to episode 19 of my Empire Total War Darth mod Knights of St. John campaign. And this, my friends, I left it last time. And once again, my friends, the council have been exemplary in their advice and counsel and proposals for this campaign, my friends. And once again, they have come up with some excellent plans that will really forward us on considerably here. Considerably, my friends. Now, what we're going to do in this particular episode is we're going to gather intel, and we're also going to examine the council's proposals here in some detail, so that we know now where we can come from, what we need to do to be able to really push ourselves to where we need to be. We are going to start expanding here, but remember, we are not as sort of a nation destroyer. We're not yet at the point where we can just sort of steamroll nations over. We have to be almost surgical in our precision here of what we do. Every single army has to count. So when an army strikes a region, it has to take that region, it has to be able to hold that region as well. So we have to do things absolutely by the book here. We mustn't overextend ourselves because we are very, very fragile. Our sort of, how should we say, our situation is fragile where we have trade coming in, but trade is coming in from one port and one port only. So if Malta for any reason is besieged, our entire economy will collapse. So it is vital that we strike at an enemy that is not going to be able to harass us at least for a long time, and B, that we're able to hold anything we take. That really is vital. But for this particular episode, we're going to examine the options available to us, proposed by the council. Remember, this is a council-driven campaign, and also we're going to be gathering intel on all those particular fronts that the council have recommended we take out. Now, the obvious one, the very first sort of proposal and plan by the council was Tripoli. Now, as you can see here, Tripoli is held by the British here, and it's been held by the British from nigh on the beginning of this campaign. It really has been not a thorn in our side, but it's been something that's sort of, shall we say, rubbing salt in the wounds of that initial skirmish we had with the British. Remember when the British sent a massive fleet, blockaded Malta, we managed to push away that fleet, by able to sort of sending them forth, and they disembark, they move away from Malta. They haven't been back yet. In the meantime, we've been trying to ramp up our production, and Admiral Kavanagh has put us some wonderful suggestions of what we should do with our fleet as well. So I would urge all of you, if possible, to go and read his wonderful sort of advice there, and all the advice. I'd recommend anybody to read all the advice put down by the council. Please feel respond, talk amongst yourselves, discuss things amongst yourselves. It does help really define the campaign. It really, really does. So Tripoli, let's have a look what we've got in Tripoli here. As you can see, the British are moving out. They are actually on the coast road here of Tunis. They've also got this sort of secondary force, this small strike force moving out. They've also got this arm moving out as well, but as you can see, not in the rudest of health here. It has taken damage. It isn't in the best condition, but it is. They are bringing their finest John Churchill here. And really is a wonderful general, as you can see. Look at that, maximum stars here above him. So he really is a fine, fine general. But Tripoli lies open to us here if possible. Now there has been a suggestion that we use Tunis almost to draw them in like a magnet, drawing in the British, and then using this force here to strike behind Tripoli, move up and take it whilst these forces are sort of sauntering outwards. Now we have to be wary that, of course, if they don't stick to the main road, this sort of coast road here leading from Safakis here all the way down to Tunis, and they sort of strike across maybe the open plains here in Algiers and try and strike Algiers itself. We could, of course, use this army to strike along the sort of the flank of the British. They do that, so that's not really going to be sort of too much of a problem for us. It's what these forces do. Will they move up to Tunis? If they do that, we must be in a position to then strike behind here and take Tripoli. As you can see, Tripoli is defended by just a handful of units. Really would be an easy take this, it really would. But what's in the port? We don't know what's in the port. Do they still have that rather robust fleet here in Sirte? And as was said as well, we'd have a direct connection here, a land connection with our allies, the Ottomans here. Now there's been some debate amongst the council of what we should do with the Ottomans. Some saying we should break the alliance for trade. Others saying hold on to the alliance and try and sort of help the Ottomans maybe resist the Poles. As you can see here, many of the councils say the Poles are absolutely rampant at the moment. They've taken Bulgaria. Sort of Bosnia is isolated here between the Austrians and the Poles. Now the Austrians and the Poles are actually at war with each other. As you can see here, Austria's actually taken Warsaw, which is a huge coup. That is a coup de main there, my friends. It really is. That was taken just under the noses here of the Poles. Now that's not going to say they're not going to suddenly move these forces back here to deal with the Austrians. What we are sort of keeping our eye on here is what does it do to the Ottomans? Will the Ottomans be able to repel and push back these forces? Will they simply stop here at Bulgaria, or will they try and take Romalia here, Istanbul, or Constantinople, as many as you like to say? And that really is important, because what happens to the Ottomans will have a direct influence on us as well. Because if we suddenly have Poland here sweeping all down the Middle East and taking Cairo, our near neighbours are not going to be sort of, shall we say, our best friends. That would be wrong of us to say otherwise. As you can see, Poland's unfriendly with us, so we'd have a sort of, dare I say, a nation that isn't remarkably happy with us. They're not overly aggressive. They're unfriendly, but they're not sort of, arms on your shoulders, patting you on the back, job well done type of neighbours. You don't want that. So we have, if we take Tripoli, it will give us direct land access to the Ottomans, but it will also put us in direct conflict, potentially, if the Poles do manage to strike that far. Again, that is not something we're looking at. That is far, far in the distance. The chances of Poland moving from here to Egypt and solving all this up is, in a short space of time, is pretty remote. So probably we'd have time to be able to prepare for that. Now, many have also said we have to hit Venice here. Many of the councils say hit Venice. As you can see here, the Italian states are under a massive bombardment by somebody here. Someone has really taken the Italian states here to task. As you can see, most of their infrastructure is under siege, or has been under siege, has been raided. And some saying we must sort of strike the Italian boot here, the Italian mainland here, and try and take it off Spain. And we have to be very careful what we're doing with Spain. Spain has substantial forces here. Substantial forces. Some of the council even suggesting we take Gibraltar from the Venetians. But remember, the Venice and Spain are allies. If we take Gibraltar, or try and take there is a very strong chance that Spain will simply step in and aid their ally, and look at that, we would be outgunned and outnumbered significantly. So again, we have to be very wary where we stand, but again, we will consider all options as the Council has put down. Again, the Council has also said that this force here is probably more of a defensive measure by the Moroccans in case we decide to move against them. And of course, that is something we have to consider. They haven't struck out against us yet, but they are in the grip of quite a severe bankruptcy. But again, that bankruptcy is easing now. So again, we have to be very, very wary. But I mean, look at the income from there. 1,520 there. That is quite exceptional income there. Most of it from mining. So, I believe there's a mine here. There it is there. A low yield mine, but still able to produce substantial income there for the Moroccans. So again, we look at Gibraltar. Portugal, have they brought this, or Austria should I say, have they brought this under siege? No, they haven't brought that under control at all. Unless there's a rebellion here. But again, we'll have to keep an eye on what the Spanish do. And of course, there is this massive tussle here between the Dutch and the Poles. As you can see, the Dutch have taken this triumvirate here of Italian states. Turin, Genoa, and Milan. That is a very powerful sort of statement here made by the Dutch here that they intend to stay here. And of course, they've got Genoa. Yeah, and they haven't quite repaired that quite yet. But again, they do have substantial income now, and probably enough to actually repel and maybe even push back the Poles. So that's going to be an intriguing battle there. And again, we have our allies up here, our only allies at the moment that have, well, not only because we've got Ottomans, but our longest standing allies, should I say, here, the Swedes, who have been fighting quite a brutal battle with the Russians. And again, many of the councils are saying trying to support Sweden if you can, sort of surreptitiously, sort of the brown envelope under the counter, sort of under the tabletop type of sort of support. And again, we will consider helping Sweden if they need it, but at the moment we're going to try and keep out of this war here. We don't want to drag ourselves into war with Russia. As you can see, Russia has expanded very, very fast here, and they are actually in Azerbaijan here, and they're quite clearly moving behind the Ottoman lines here, and that's going to put a huge sort of pressure on the Ottomans this end. And of course, it looks like the Russians are going to head for Esfahan here, in the Persian capital, which again will put them directly in contact here with the Ottomans. Looks like the Ottomans are being squeezed from two sides here, and that doesn't bode well for them, nor for us in the long run. But again, we adapt to the situation at hand. So we have Venice. We're going to scout Venice out. We're going to actually see what's going on here as well. The council has sort of put that in. Remember, if we attack Venice, we will drag Spain into that fight. Let's have a look at Spain here. Sorry about that, my friends. As you can see here, we do have the allies with Austria. The Italian states are actually then, yeah, Venice there. So they're allies with Venice as well. So again, they would probably even drag in, maybe even some of the others. Let's have a look actually at what the Venetians have as allies. They'd probably drag in Austria, and they would drag in the Italian states as well. So again, let's have a look who the Italian states are at war with. I wonder if that's the United Provinces attacking them there. It's either going to be Poland, but I think this is the Netherlands. The Dutch are actually attacking here the Italian states. If they take Rome, the Dutch would have a huge stranglehold on the Mediterranean in this part here, especially this sort of southern Mediterranean section. Let's have a look who they're hostile towards us. And if they're going to come down into Italy, we have to be very careful. They're at war with Austria. They're at war with Spain. So if they come down to here, then they're hostile towards us. We'll have to be very careful, because they could quite easily move across the Mediterranean here, this expanse, and hit us quite hard here. But again, that's something we've got to consider for the future. So I think what we're going to do is we're going to actually we've got them in production here already, these ships. Do we have any? We don't. So what we're going to scout out Sirte, we're going to scout out Venice, we're going to scout out the Italian states here as well. We are assuming here that this is going to be the Dutch attacking, or at least raiding quite heavily here, the Italian states. We know what's already in Gibraltar here. And who are their allies? It looks like Spain has also got them. So Austria here is a Spanish ally, so again they've got that firmly under control. That's under lock and key here. This peninsula down here, the Spanish peninsula here, is well under control. Of course we've got Britain here, which is rampant. Now we did also put forward the question of whether we should take Scotland here. Now the council, some of the council members have sort of been for it, and we should attack Scotland. Most of the council are actually against it, saying that that might be a step too far. That would push our resources far, far beyond what we can possibly cope to do. Remember, we'd have to effectively move into America, then sail directly back into the North Atlantic Ocean here, and then strike immediately for Edinburgh. Now, as many of you said, the British would probably just simply send a fleet all the way down here and absolutely cause absolute havoc for us in the Mediterranean. At the moment, they're keeping a distance from us, and that's how we want it to remain. So we're going to sort of maybe err on the side of caution with the Scottish, with Scotland at the moment. We don't really want to drag ourselves into that war. But one of the largest possible proposals here was actually India, and that we actually bring ourselves into the civil war that's going on here between the Mughals and the Marathans here. And as you can see, the Mughals have actually recaptured Ujjain here, the Malwa here. So they've actually retaken it from the Marathans. Now many of the council are saying we need to get in here, particularly here in Mysore. If we take Mysore, this is one of the richest provinces, one of the richest regions in the entire world at the moment. It really is. A single region here is incredibly rich. They've got a dockyard here, but they've also got a capital here which would be has been considerably upgraded, and they've got a huge amount of upgrade options available to us this year. We would be, but consider we would be actually be surrounded. They have Arcot, they have Hyderabad, they have Nagpur, they have Ahmadnagar, and they also have Satara here, the Bijapur. So again, we would be surrounded. If we attack here, we'd have to hold. So again, we're going to be scouting out what is going on here as well. Of course, we've got the Dutch here in Ceylon. We can't really do anything there. We also have a steady stream of trade coming in from the East Indies here into the Indian Ocean. But again, the Mughals are actually cutting off much of the trade here from the Marathans. So we might see the Marathans taking a little bit of a beating here. But so we can actually see ourselves what's going on here in Mysore. Let's get as close as we possibly can here. Now that they do have substantial forces available here, and also in the city itself here. And they also have a small. We'll just quickly scout what they've got available here in Arcot here. In Karnataka, nothing at all. They do have these navies available to themselves here. As you can see, they've already got 5th rates up as well. But if we were to take this dockyard, 5th rates, Admiral 5th rates here would be available to us. 5th rates will be open to us here. But remember, we are here now. If we had attacked Mysore, it would bring in a substantial amount of income for us. But again, we would. But that's not a great deal of firepower they've got here. Most of their fighting forces must be up here in the front line, probably running from Nagpur to Ahmadnagar here. But again, as you can see, we have a number of Mughal forces moving in here, pushing them in. So we are giving a serious thought here to pushing in against Mysore. Now, most of the council have actually pushed for us to take a stake here in the Indian subcontinent here, and actually get involved in the civil war. Because if the Mughal take over all of this, we'll effectively be sort of turfed out, as it were, from this. We won't have a piece of this pie. But if we were to get engaged now, anything we would effectively tip the balance in the favour of the Mughals, and we are allied with the Mughal Empire. So if we came in to help them, they would actually look on that very favourably. So I think we've just scouted this out now. We were going to send a ship in initially, but let's have a look at the Marathans' allies, Poland and Ottoman. So the Ottomans aren't going to, but Poland might be dragged into that war with us. But that's the risk we have to take. Can't Calcutta here and Cuttack here are under control, so that is actually going to put us not too. We thought for a moment that maybe the British still had this, but of course they don't. But if we were to take Mysore, that would cut off a huge amount. So look at this, 5,000 coming in here. That is quite extraordinary, that income. The tax rate is very high as well. Tax burden of 11,790 here for tea regional wealth. Mining is just incredible. Exports of tea, as many of the councils said, tea would be a huge import there for us, export for us. Let's have a look here. Tea is 25, so that's actually pretty good there. And also, a number of council members saying is probably the spice hasn't dropped because of us. We don't really have the power, since we only have one trade port, to really drag the price of spice down. It's probably from India itself that actually the spice has been absolutely ramped up here. Particularly, if you see any noise in the background, my friends, you have to excuse that. That is, you probably know who that is, looking for attention. So it looks like our preference here is going to be Mysore. It will be a fight. They've got an army here, so we might have to send in possibly a reserve force. And also, there was the suggestion here that we actually start attacking the pirates as well, and leave an auxiliary force here to sort of guard these two provinces here. We could actually use native musketmen here to do that job for us. But again, we could always pull this army back if need be, if the British were to sort of get wind of that and move in against us here. So as you can see, we already have a good scout here of the Pirate Islands. And to be honest with you, I think we'd probably move against Trinidad and Tobago first. This would probably be our first port of call. We have the ships available to do that, so I think what we might do is actually move this army here. What we will do is we'll begin recruitment here. I think we'll have some native musketmen here. Now the native Indians are very reliable troops indeed. Their morale is high. They're not the finest troops we have. These are of course exceptional troops here. We will probably be looked to moving against, try and take some of these regions here. Be very wary of the British, although the British power has waned considerably here. But we mustn't take our eye off the ball here. Some of the council members even suggesting we moving against the 13 colonies. That might be a little bit of an overstretch on our part. That might just be too much for us. But as you can see, Montreal here and Arcadia are actually rebel held. So is Newfoundland. So again, we have the potential of actually moving into, you know, Fort Nashwack or even Arcadia here, Montreal, and even in Newfoundland here. But ideally we want to take the pirates, because what will that do? If we take the pirates, it's twofold. Not only will this give us a real footprint here in the Caribbean, but it'll also aid our diplomatic, because if we are the nation that destroys the pirates, that would aid our diplomacy considerably. So it really would be wonderful to have that sort of on our list of what we have achieved, is eradicating the menace of the pirates. Now, to that end, we must prepare this army here. It is not complete yet. As you can see, we still need to. I think if we are going to send these gentlemen to probably Tripoli first and get this under our control. Also, the council recommended we actually stop Bajaya being the college here and actually convert this into a missionary. Now, because we've got a lot of trouble here in Algiers, religion, look at the religious unrest, 10 is actually giving us a huge amount of trouble. And also, many of the council said if you make this a missionary, you can actually get a sort of religious establishment. We can get missionaries who can actually move out and help sort of start converting the populace. So I think what we're going to have to do is here, because we've got the majority of what we can get here, the majority of our military power is already, or research has already been done. The bulk of it, the most important, has already been done. And again, we can probably buy in this technology if we need to. We've also got wait for classical university to arrive. Government by consent. Yeah, that would probably help. +1 clamour for reform. But again, we've got the majority of what we need. We haven't got any of these buildings to be able to make use of them anyway. So I think we can actually convert or destroy and dismantle Bajaya here and actually make it into a school, a religious school. And I'll be converting Kesserine into our classical university, which again, -6 happiness is going to hurt us pretty big here. But again, research will be increased, number of gentlemen. Actually, what we can do is we can take these gentlemen here and move them into here. And that should lower the time considerably. So we're on 5 here now, so that'll take 5 turns. So actually, although we've got less establishments, because we've now put all our gentlemen. I know we've had a number of council, or one council member, 2 council members actually asking for to be renamed. I'm not sure if we can actually rename them, but still, we will do the best we can here to be renamed. So we'll actually use this gentleman here as our best scholar. Will actually be one of the council members. Again, I won't be renaming units just yet because we want to build up until we've got enough to do a proper renaming. So again, are we recruiting here? We are indeed. We've got a 4th rate ship of the line. Hopefully here we've got a 6th rate as well. But we need to scout here and here as well. I think that's all we can do for the moment, my friends. I think. Yeah, so Bajai is going to be destroyed, dismantled. We're going to rebuild that to something else. But I think once we've dealt with Tripoli, I think we're definitely going to be moving against Mysore. But I think we need to get Tripoli. If that British fleet is not here, we will be moving against Tripoli. And we'll see what they do now. But let's end the turn here. And let's see what happens. Now oh, look at that. Royal Palace is almost done as well. Fantastic. That's a real sort of statement of intent there we're making here. Let's end the turn. See what happens. Britain, oh Britain, Britain, oh ho ho ho. There it is. There it is. Ah, look at that. They want to draw us out there. I think we'll take that fight to the British. I don't think we're going to sit on our laurels here. We're not going to sit on our hands and let things happen. Now the Poles really are aiming for Britain quite considerably, and that's what we want. Ottoman Empire. Will Ottoman Empire actually strike back against the Poles? Russia, which again, considerable power, considerable influence. Russia does have Sweden. Now what will Sweden be doing? Looks like they did try to assault the Russians. Looks like they took a little bit of a beating there, but I have no idea where they're moving to, but still an odd deployment to say the least. Now Marathans haven't done much. Will the Mughal Empire actually strike back at the Marathans here and do some serious damage to them? Because we don't want to be moving into the sort of subcontinent and then be sort of abandoned by our allies as they sort of collapse under no, they've actually retaken this. Oh, they've taken a massive amount here. I think we better do something pretty quickly here before the Mughals can take everything. Quebec. So they've actually, and they just look at that. They stopped that from happening as well. They want to try and pull us out from here, but they're not going to succeed. Quite clearly, they're aiming to try and draw us out from here. Now we're going to continue. We are going to continue unopposed here. So what do we have here? What do we need? We need. We've got enough cavalry. Do we have enough cavalry? I think we'll have one more regiment of cavalry. I think we'll have. I think that should do it. 4, yes, it will. It will actually do it. Then we're going to probably send, instead of going for Tripoli here. That's excellent. So what we're actually doing is going to scout out Tripoli. Just quickly scout out this. No, gentlemen. Yeah, that. Yes. That is a considerable naval fleet. Oh my goodness me, that is a considerable fleet there. I think what we might do is just put that on hold for the moment. I think what we will do is just try and actually move to this port here. And then this navy here will actually send. I think we'll send in the South American Trade Theatre. Oh, for goodness sake, gentlemen, oh my goodness me, what an absolute buffoon I am. Oh no, we're going to be. That means the British fleet will probably come out now and absolutely smash this fleet in here. Not good. I have made a massive error here. That is not paying attention. Actually move them back into their position. I can guarantee the British fleet will come out there and absolutely put an end to us there with that. Drats. Right, Algiers has been increased. This has been increased. No, we're back up to +5 here. Now we are going to put a church school here. We've repaired that there. We've got these gentlemen now coming together to form a new auxiliary army. And we will be continuing that process. Also, we prepare this army here for operations against the pirates. Okay, that's fine. Now we're going to see that. Oh, what a mistake that was. What an absolute buffoon. Now, of course, and also that has been raided, so that stopped that production. It's down to 0. That's the problem, see. We could deal with them, but again, we must hold our nerve here. We must hold our patience here. We do have the ability to really crush the British in if necessary. We've got... Let's end the turn here. Let's see what happens. See what Britain does. Looks like they want to draw us out. I think we have to deal with this British problem before we do anything else. Put an end to it once and for all. We're going to take Tripoli. We're going to deal with that force, and we're going to take Tripoli. Simple as that. We have to do something, because otherwise they're going to crush our internal economy here. Ooh. It's good to still see that Sweden is still strong. And it looks like, have they? Yeah, thankfully they're able to still produce troops here to hold Stockholm. Looks like they're going to combine forces, bring them back. We're gonna have to deal with the British. We're gonna have to deal with these British forces. It's as simple as that. Oh, the Marathons, now hold your nerve, sir. Mughal Empire, look at that. That's a sizable force. Mughal Empire, still moving forces. Oh, they've retaken that though. The Marathons have retaken that. That's what we've got to be careful of here. They've been sent packing. So pirates are increasing their hold here. But again, we're going to have to deal with this British here. 9,229. Actually, it's not too bad here. Right, well, they actually let us get away with that. That was a surprise. I don't mind telling you, that was a surprise. We actually got away with that. Now, let's put these ships into proper use here. Excuse any noise in the background there, my friends, because you probably know who that is there. So we've got ships now moving out as they should be. Excellent. We actually, as General or Admiral, Lord Admiral Kavanagh has stated, we need to increase the ships here. We've got the Austrians here as well. That's not going to do us too much harm either. We'll move to the West African to get that ivory. How is ivory holding up here? Ivory's gone up to 31. But we're gonna have to deal with the British. We're gonna have to deal with this British here. Yeah, that's more like it. Now I think what we will do is we'll just move one force or one regiment here of colonials from here to make sure that's full. Then we should replace them. Oh, actually we've got Royal Cairo going into this, so actually that's a very good replacement. We've got 38,599 in the bank, but it's time that we dealt with the British problem here, because it's going to just it can look has stopped our research here dead in its tracks. We've got another cuirassiers here, cuirassier. I think we will test the strength of this force here. We'll actually move against the British here, and dispose of this force here as well, and then move on to Tripoli. We're going to end this misery the British have brought us once and for all. I think we'll actually get another 4th rate here. We'll keep increasing this fleet here as well, and here we'll actually get a 6th rate. Now let's keep on increasing. Our auxiliary force is going to be looking after this. Remember, we have to have a force in place here that's actually going to be able to defend this to some degree. We can't simply just sort of move off and then hope the British don't arrive. What if the British do arrive and this army isn't here? What do we do then? We have to be prepared, my friends, for all eventualities. It might be a little bit slower than we hoped, but still. So this army is actually going to remove this force here once and for all. And then we shall move on and deal with this here in the port. Then we will move to Tripoli. And we shall show them what we're made of here. Now, what can we look at that recruitment here? I think we'll actually put some of these gentlemen into recruitment as well. We're going to start really ramping up our production of troops here. Recruiting them. Now, how is the war over here going? As you can see now, they've taken Hyderabad here. They've taken Katak. But we have to take Mysore, so we have to be very quick here what we're doing. Wow. Ashinawawada. Oh my word, look at that. Maratha's greatness. In other words, that's a massively fortified fortress. Oh, what a... my goodness me, what a wonder that will be. But they don't have many troops here at all. If we could take Mysore, what a jewel that would be. Right, we have to deal with the British quickly. So take Tripoli. It's going to be a school very soon. We have to deal with these gentlemen very, very quickly. Let's do this. Now we could actually probably... do we take this fight here and show them what we're made of? I think we'll take this fight, my friends. Let's just bloody in this army here. If we blood in this army, we'll get some experience as well, and that'll put them on a good footing. Then they're going against John Churchill, and that will set them up for this sort of expedition into India. They will then be a battle-hardened veteran force, ready to fight. Remember, the council is driving this campaign fully here. This was what the council wanted, to take Tripoli and then move into the subcontinent. It was exactly what we're going to do. And we're also going to be taking the pirates at the same time. So, good grief. I mean, that is a huge deployment zone. I mean, that is massive. Oh my goodness me. No, surely not. We've got the hill. We've actually got the hill. Oh my word, we've actually... good grief, look at the size of the deployment zone. It's probably one of the largest we've ever dealt with. We are definitely going to make use of this hill here to fire down into these British positions. Oh, that is an absolute joy to see. It really is. We are going to be firing into the British positions here on the hill. We're also going to make sure that we have plenty of troops available. I think we'll put the cuirassiers though into one sort of mailed fist here. We're going to absolutely look to seek out these British forces here. We're going to take the fight to them. We'll actually move to the extremities here to the right. We are going to be looking to strike. I know diamond formation, but we're going to be hunting down their troops. We shall not give them a moment's respite. Now we're going to put a token force up here to guard the artillery, our So my friends, we're going to move to support this. Oh, look at that. What a sight. What a wonderful uniform that is. Look at that. So we're going to actually look to just to defend, make sure we've got some defensive positions here firmly established to make sure that we aren't caught on the back foot here by any sort of raid here by. We'll have the 30th Regiment on the right, the 27th in the centre. We do have Grenadiers. Actually, we'll put the Grenadiers in the centre. Actually, no, I think we'll use the Grenadiers to actually advance against the British forces. We're going to teach them a lesson. 33rd, I think we'll have on the left here. I think that should be enough here to hold this flank. We'll just put one more regiment, 25th here, on this flank here, just in case. That should be enough to hold off. Oh, look at that roll. Oh my goodness me, look at that. What a wonder to see this. And we'll also have the general up here as well. We're not going to be... Just put him on the cusp of the hill here, just in case of any artillery fire will actually sort of strike the top of the hill here. The rest of it, we actually move out against them here. We've got 2 regiments of Grenadiers and the Royal Cairo infantry foot guards here. We're going to actually send these 3 regiments out against them. I think we'll have these 3 regiments here, the 34th, 32nd, 28th. We should put the 31st up here as well, I think, on this flank here, on the slope here, on the right hand side. Let's see if we can pin some movement, these gentlemen here. And actually move, we'll use the cavalry as well to our advantage. They're all hidden as well, so that's excellent. We're going to show the British what we're made of here. Let's end the deployment. Let's get this cavalry here moving into position. And as I thought, look at that, they've moved straight in against us here. Let's go to explosive shell. Let's immediately look at that. What an absolute joy to see, sir. Oh, double time, gentlemen. This is not a Sunday stroll. Gentlemen. Look at this. The Order, the Knights of St. John are finally on the march against the British. We've waited a long time for this. Dragoons. I'm going to give them free rein here. Oh, what a shot, sir. They got pikemen. Look at that, they just simply dissolved. These pikemen will do a tremendous amount of damage to us. Dirty fire, gentlemen. Gentlemen, you better be double time. Double time! Look at this, let the British buckle, sir. Oh, look at this. If they wish to cluster up like this, we shall take full advantage, sir. Oh, it's an absolute joy to see. A joy to see. Square! Fuck! Oh, they're shattered. They've had enough. Oh my word, this has been an absolute joy to see. Look at this. We've absolutely butchered them, sir. Look at that, gracias. Of course they're wavering, sir. Look at this, it's been an absolute joy to see. Ceasefire. Yes! What a fight that was, my friends. A heroic victory, and that has taught them exactly what they're up against here. That has taught them exactly what they're up against. We lost 105 men here. They lost 1,019 here. On the way with you, sir. And thus it ends. Now we shall replenish and repair. 467, which is more than, well, +1 to morale, already gaining that experience we need. We need to deal with these gentlemen here because they don't harass us. Those pikemen, how do they survive? We could chase them down, but that's going to be a waste of resources. We'll actually use this army here if needs be to do so, if they get any closer. But then our next target will be their most powerful force here. Then we will be moving against Tripoli here. We're going to have to be very, very quick here what we do. And again, let's end the turn, my friends, and let's see what happens here. Oh, that's a huge force. Where are they going exactly? There it is. There it is. Oh, well done. Well done, Austria. Spain. Poland. That's a significant force being moved in there by Poland. Look at Austria. The Austria being absolutely closed in here. Russia. Has Russia been stopped here though? Potentially. Sweden, thankfully Sweden is still strong here. That's good to see a strong ally there. Especially opposing Russia, which is of course going to be a threat to all if we're not careful. Oh wow. They might be going for the Punjab. Tunis is besieged. We're going to have to lift this siege. We knew they were coming for us. I think the first thing to do here is to deal with these. No, we won't send any horse.
Forza e onore. Altri ordini? In marcia! Signore.
Dealt with. We'll get the Jesuit College here. We're going to try and turn around what's going on here. Yes, it's going down. Excellent. That should try and bring religious unrest down. It is indeed coming down.
Avanti per il paese e la corona. In marcia!
West Africa. I think we'll send this to West Africa. We're going to try and get our ivory up and running here and keep that moving in position. But drats, look at that there. Almost ready here. One more turn here as well. But Tunis being cut off here. That is an absolute menace again. The British really getting in our way here. Dutch Guyana, can we actually, we can't upgrade, no, we need a steam engine here, which we don't have of access to at the moment. But again, we shall get some, we'll get some native musketmen here as well. We need to make sure we can at least hold for a short space of time, then we can move out against the pirates. Let's prepare ourselves here. I think we can probably move against Trinidad and Tobago. Mind you, they've got that port sealed off there, so it looks like it's going to have to be against probably Antigua here. What's Antigua available? 425 here. Roads, and it's also got sugar exports. Tax burden is pretty high here as well. But of course they've got this port here. We can't move against that port. I think we'll prepare ourselves. Let's put our navy here, the Acheron. Can we actually move in against? Oh, we can indeed. We've already moved. This is the first move. We're going to move them back to the port here. We're not going to take any risks with our forces at all. We're actually going to move against we have Trinidad and Tobago, bring that under our control and start the removal of the pirates as the council have decreed. Now we're going to have to move against, I think, yeah, we have to put Classical University into procedure here. I think we have to move against this British force here. I think we've got to bring this to an end. We have to bring this to an end here once and for all. We're already taking, look at that, we're already taking casualties here from this siege. Let's put an end to this. Let's put an end to this. We cannot allow the British to do this. And once we have dealt with this British force here, we're then going to move against Tripoli. We're going to replenish, and we're going to move against Tripoli. We are not going to be allowing them, the British, just to do this to us. Not a chance. Okay, we do have casualties. We're not at full strength here. But again, we do have considerable reinforcements. Now, what we want to do... Oh, we can... Yes, indeed. Now, our deployment zone again is substantial. Now, we don't want to get involved in the fight here at the town. We've got to avoid this sector here of the battlefield. We don't want to get involved. So we're actually going to be putting our artillery support here. We actually potentially want to be able to blindside the British as well if possible. So we're going to set ourselves up at an angle here. We don't have any high ground apart. Well, actually here is high ground, but again, unfortunately this sector is used, has the village on this. We don't want to get boxed into street, sort of house to house street fighting. That's going to put us at a disadvantage. That's going to sort of negate the forces we have available to us, the advantage we have. So we're actually going to put them here, our general here. And our cavalry once again will be used. Actually, I think we'll have our cavalry spread here on two flanks. make sure that we can actually move around this village here if needs be. And we can probably move along the road and move behind the British forces. Now, we are going to be attacking, so we'll set up a defensive line again. Actually, we'll move these cavalry back along here so we don't sort of disrupt the line we're going to put in place here. So, our attacking forces are once again going to involve the Grenadiers, which we shall put here, and also the 2nd Foot Guard Royal Cairo Infantry Guards. We're going to have the 30th Regiment here in defence again. The vanguard of the defence, we shall have the 33rd. Again, these are the designated defensive formations. We have the 25th here. It's going to be a little bit of a sterner test of our forces here, because the British have more and stronger forces against the raid against the ship. But we do have the backup here. We do have reinforcements available to ourselves. 27th will be along here as well in defence. Now, our attacking force will consist of the sort of elite regiments we have, the Grenadiers and the Cairo Foot Guards. And we'll put the 31st Regiment as well. British will probably be coming from this sector here, so we can actually put it here. We'll cut the road here, so we're going to actually straddle and cut the road. The rest, 34th, 32nd and 28th, again will be our attacking force. Now, what we don't want to do is move through the village here. We have to be smart about this. As you can see, they've also got this sort of cutout here, this hill here, this cliff almost, that will really put a spanner in the works. We try and outflank them along the village, it's going to take us too long. We're going to have to sort of strike against, sort of cut through the sort of gap here between this sort of hill here and the village, and then probably move up and try and take this tree line here if possible. Let's end the deployment here, my friends. Let's begin this battle. There they are, exactly as we thought they would be. Let's get explosive shell on them here. Already we have them here, sir. Gentlemen, double time! Let's just shift our axis slightly here. Actually, that's a perfect axis, so we're going to jam them in between the village here. Oh, that's a brutish fight there, sir. Howitzers here. We've got to move in against these howitzers, but again, they've got some good defensive formations here now. If we can get in position, we have got in position. They're going to be hit on the hill here before us, but still, we've jammed them in. We sort of crammed them in here between the village. If they want to break these lines, bite down, we'll give them hell, sir. Oh, that's going to hurt. That's going to hurt. We've just got to take that hit there. Compliments to the chef, sir. Well done, lads. It's been an absolute bloodbath here. Keep firing, lads. Keep firing, lads. Oh, the pressure's told. The pressure has told. Oh, well done, sir. Give them nothing now, gentlemen. Take everything. Yes. John Churchill gone. The absolute linchpin here of the British Army gone. What the blazes is going on here? They've broken. This is an absolute tragedy here, sir. Don't just stand there, gentlemen. Move! Yes, they've finally gone. We've got them, lads. Ceasefire. They've gone. That's it. They've had enough. The British have been absolutely eliminated, sir. What a fight. What a fight that was. 17 men remaining. And thus it ends.
Abbiamo trionfato!
5 men killed, 846.
In marcia! Avanti!
And now we replenish and repair. Gentlemen. Thank you. And hither. What a fight that was. What a fight. +1 morale. We shall replenish here and repair here. And Tripoli is our next target. Be under no illusions, my friends. This is going to be our next target. This force already is starting to produce wonderful results here. Let's have a quick look here. This is going to be probably the last turn here, my friends, of this particular episode. They've actually retaken Hyderabad here, so we've got to do something about this Maratha Confederacy here. And they don't have many forces here. But they probably bring this force in to help here, but again, we'd probably be able to withstand that. If we were able to take Mysore, what an absolute boon that would be for us, it really would. Have they? No, the Ottomans haven't been able to retake any of this just yet, but they've sort of stopped here. They've retaken Warsaw here, the Poles. Oh my goodness me. Rome has fallen. Rome has fallen to the Dutch. Look at the size of the Dutch Empire. It is huge. They've effectively taken most of, and I wouldn't surprise if they don't move against Naples. They've taken all of, of the Italian mainland, and they're moving on to the peninsula as well here. I wouldn't be surprised if they don't take Sardinia as well from them. Wow, but if they're at war, are they still at war with Poland? If they are, that would be fantastic, because it'll keep the Poles... No, they're not at war with Poland anymore, which is a shame. But they are at war with Austria. So again, our looks like our particular gaze is going to be cast to the New World and to India, the subcontinent, by the looks of things. Looks like the Russians have stopped at Azerbaijan. But this, my friends, will be the last turn here of this particular episode. But what an episode it's been. We've finally crushed in the British. We're actually going to be moving, and then moving against the British. Actually, let's get these. Let's keep this going here. We mustn't for a moment let our gaze away from what is important here. Now, Austria. Nothing from Austria. Moving some ships into place. Other provinces here. Spain, Poland. And moving that main army away, the Ottomans. What will the Ottomans do? We're not sure what they will do. Will they try and retake any of the territories they've lost here to the Polish Russia? Obviously up to something. Sweden. That's a lot of trade we have there. Look at the armies they're able to put into place here. Swedish fleet all on the move. That is a massive force there, loitering behind the lines. Wow, they're obviously... Oh, look at that there. They've actually moved in quite aggressively there against... Ah! I don't think... No. Actually, we will intercept, my friends. We'll actually take this fight. This is actually the fight we need here to actually take Trinidad and Tobago. But, my friends, that is the fight for next episode. Again, I'd like to thank the Council for all their wonderful advice and support here. It is only because of you, my friends, this campaign is where it is. We've moved against Tripoli, we moved against the British. I know that was forced upon us. We've moved against the pirates here, which will put us in good standing with the rest of the world. And we're also going to get involved in the civil war there in the subcontinent as well. We're going to move against the Marathans, try and take Mysore if possible. We might have to reinforce possibly that army with another strike group there. Maybe a small reinforcing army just to make sure we can hold out. But my friends, I'm going to end this episode here. I hope you've enjoyed this game. Please keep your comments coming down below, no matter how big or small your comments are, no matter how much depth you want to put into it, my friends. Please keep them coming. Please do not stop those comments coming. They've been absolutely wonderful. They really, really have. But my friends, until next time, and I hope you have a great weekend coming up. But until next time, my friends, bye for now.